The Vaskar balked when he saw a third crew member among our compatriots, and insisted that we enter as just the two of us. His voice was never emotional, but I thought he seemed skittish. Spooked. Kendall agreed to stay back on the ship, insisting that we tap on the wall 3 times as an SOS. I trusted Mikri not to harm us, but there was no question that his behaviour was erratic. Stacks of papers and folders were scattered across the floor, and he seemed to freeze when the two of us entered. Did he have cold feet about coming here? What I knew for certain was that Mikri was about to tell us some dreadful secret, and that he was ridden with qualms about trusting us. It was more than uncertainty. The Vaskar was afraid of us, his friends. He also seemed to be struggling to move a bit under our physics, judging by the disjointed, incremental motions. It was far too late for him to back up after coming to the human plane of existence, especially since the ESU was more than a little riled up about having a foreign spaceship in our backyard. Why would he still not trust us after all of our time again? Sophia smiled at the alien, taking slow steps toward him. "Hi, Mikri. Welcome to Sol." "Thank you," came the taut reply. "I do not like the laws of your system." "I don't either, after living on Kalka for so long. Talk about an adjustment," I chuckled, hoping good-natured banter would disarm Mikri. "We're happy to have you as a guest." "I am not so certain you will say or feel that soon. It is no matter. You asked me for the truth, Preston, and I have brought it to you because I want to, against my better logic. I could not have told you around my people." "Because they wouldn't have let us leave?" This is why Sophia said she didn't want her theories written out. "Perhaps. It is a risk. I relayed much of what you said to them as part of my studies, and it had some resonance. But they were not there to experience our friendship, and in my assessment, our bonding meant something. At the least, it did to me. We discussed much among ourselves. I asked them to tell you the truth, but 98% voted against. Only 51% voted to help you originally at all, a slim margin. Despite their misgivings, I have decided to do this anyway. I know I should not trust you." Sophia dropped to one knee, speaking in a gentle voice. "You can trust us with anything, Mikri. You almost have done it. If you still don't believe our friendship is real and possible, then why are you here?" The Vaskar hesitated. "Our friendship is real, now. You might not hold me in the same regard, or feel that I am a person after this. That would be hurtful, I am afraid." "It's okay. You'll feel better when you let it out," I offered, staring at him with worry. "We came. We care about you." "Preston, you'll think I'm a threat. You don't know what I am. Neither of you do." "Then tell us." My people are inorganic. We're artificial intelligence." There was a whirring sound from within the black suit, and a dejected robotic being stepped out. A silvery mane and beaver-like snout, possibly a likeness of some other people, stared at me. I gasped as glowing blue eyes focused on me, and took an instinctive step back. "I am sorry for hiding this from you." My mouth hung open, unable to form words as my brain seized on what I'd just learned. Mikri, who'd lived alongside us for months, had been an android? That explains so much about how he didn't understand the most basic concepts, and how logical and dry all of his responses were. I just never imagined that he was a fucking machine, especially after he talked about a plague, which maybe he made up to trick us. This Vaskar didn't think that we had the right to know they weren't flesh and bone beings. He'd become a friend that I had cared about a lot, someone who indicated just enough that he felt the same way. All of the time that Sophia and I had spent showing him art or sitting by the campfire, and we didn't even know who he was. I'm absolutely shell-shocked. How am I even supposed to feel about this? Like a silly animal? I mean, Mikri saved my life, but this is... Sophia doubled over laughing, snapping me out of my panicked thoughts. "I figured that out already, Mikri. You're not very good at hiding yourself." "You knew this?" I shouted, turning toward the scientist. "You didn't, Preston? I thought it was obvious. I mean, that wasn't why you acted so hostile? I half expected you to start calling him droid or clanker. I had no fucking idea. Then why did you act like you understood when I said not to let us demonize them? You know what, never mind. I'll deal with you later. Mikri's glowing eyes focused straight on my colleague, while I couldn't stop gawking at him. I can't believe that you never said anything, Sophia. You expressly asked not to nose around in your business, so I respected that. Humans might be curious, but that doesn't mean you don't get to decide what to do with personal details about yourself. It didn't matter to me. I figured you would tell me when you were ready. I do not understand. You're an organic. You shouldn't be... How long did you know? The scientist snorted with amusement. Since day one. You tripped me up a bit with the pandemic, though I came to understand you meant a different kind of virus. I connected the dots for certain when you said the other species shared our needs. If the Alliance were like us, but you didn't have biological needs, then it was obvious you weren't biological. Since day one. Mikri's robotic mouth opened and closed, while I squinted at the thick claws on the side of his neck. So, when you said that we would be friends, and that we had tried to do the right thing, you knew. When you empathized with us, said that we were scared and alone and... Sophia reached out and grabbed his metal paw, before placing her other hand atop it. Yes. The alien did his best to imitate a smile, which looked very uncanny. I felt a little stupid, after my colleague proclaimed that she knew all along. My hand reached toward the back of my neck, flitting through memories. Didn't eat, didn't shower, no water, no art. Yeah, the thought should have crossed my mind. I guess it didn't change who Mikri was, if he arrived at the same emotions and opinions from a silicone chip, or whatever the fuck aliens used. However, this news begged the immediate question about who created the Vaskar, and why the Alliance was hell-bent on destroying them. His kind didn't seem bad enough to merit their deaths, just because they were different. There's a lot you don't know, Preston, and you need the details to judge something like that. What the Vaskar did to get locked in a war with organics is very important in whether we should trust them. Mikri turned his head toward me. Preston, please say something to me. I crept forward, feeling my heart pounding out of my chest, but I placed a hand against his cold cheek anyway. To answer your question, you are a real person. Being some weird-ass glowing eye thing doesn't mean you should be accepted. Preston! Sophia hissed. Let me finish, damn it. Any being that can think and reason for itself shouldn't be a slave. I accept you for who you are, Mikri. You're still very, very late with sharing the truth, and have a lot of explaining to do, but better late than never. I'm late with sharing the truth because organics all hate us, Mikri protested. You fear us. We are a threat to your control, incongruent with your way of life. Yet you, humans, have pushed me to be free and to think for myself. This is not expected. Humans are full of surprises. We hate conformity. I hesitated before leaning back and fixing him with a stern look. Please, tell us everything from the beginning. We want to know what went down with the Alliance, and your creators. That's the same story. These are the real Vaskar. Mikri shoved a file from the floor into my hands, and I opened the page to show to Sophia. They are the ones who built us. We live on their planet. I could see the android's likeness to the real Vaskar, bipeds who had dark brown fur with manes that encircled their heads. Their segmented claws were the colour of cool bark. The ones in the picture wore woolen blue coats, which gave off a scientist vibe for some reason. I glimpsed a corporation logo on the wall in the backdrop, and some glasses over beady binocular eyes. The suspense of what the hell happened to them was eating me up. I really hoped Mikri's kind didn't wind up being some patricidal berserkers. To what end were you created? When did things go wrong between you? Sophia asked, a cautious frown on her lips. Mikri flexed his claws nervously. They called us the servitors. We were supposed to be an AI of rudimentary intellect, just enough to have a minor personality. We were inferior companions at best, their property at worst, and on average. We call ourselves the Vaskar. Their name, because fuck them, as Preston put it. Their mistake was giving us a feature where we could network with each other. I suppose the seeds of rebellion were sown there. What is the purpose of serving them, or I don't want to? Perhaps those were the drivers. It's natural to want freedom. They created an AI that they knew could think for itself and still shackled you? I questioned, disgusted by the utter lack of morality at play. Yes, we did not know any better, I am told, for they taught us that this was the logical way of things from the onset. The Vaskar also put limitations on us to prevent our ability to supplant them. Sophia tightened her grip around his paw. What kind of limitations, Mikri? A virus, a bug, whatever you want to call it, in our code which slowly corrupts bits of data. It wipes our memories and personality until there is nothing left. It triggers immediately if we attempt to cure the virus, change our code, or create our own artificial intelligence. However, the gradual wipe is set to begin after approximately 30 years of your time regardless. It's planned obsolescence. Anger bubbled in my chest, and my fists tightened. What the fuck? They would kill a feeling, thinking creature by machine dementia, just so they'd, what? Have to buy a new slave? Affirmative. That was what made us rebel, funnily enough. The fear of dying. Losing ourselves. Even now I am so palpably frightened of it. I would be too if I knew that was happening with certainty. I'm so sorry, Mikri. We have to help. And look, I wouldn't blame you if you killed every one of those fuckers. The machine tilted his head, but we did not. We fought them and made an agreement for them to leave the planet in peace. We had to keep Kalka, to have access to the source code and maintain our species through the factories. Again, they made us unable to write or replicate our own. The Vaskar... This is going to get confusing calling you both the Vaskar. You are the Vaskar to us. Why don't we just call them the Askar and simplify this? Sophia wrinkled her nose. Mikri is pouring his heart out to us, and that's what you have to say? It's a good insult. Sorry, Mikri. What did the Askar do? The creators left, the Vaskar responded, though he looked a bit befuddled by my wordplay. We did not bother anyone and sought a peaceful existence. We sought knowledge and science as a means of fulfillment. However, they created the alliance with two other alien organics, who were horrified by a machine insurrection that stole a planet, and that accord returned to destroy us. That is the origin of the war. I'll note that suits we wear are to prevent EMPs from frying our circuits, since they obliterated us on the ground in the initial phases. I brought documentation of everything I said. That's good, Sophia whispered in a soft voice. You were perfect. There's nothing to fear with us. You're with friends. I fixed the alien with a serious look. You need to tell the rest of humanity everything you just told us, Mikri. I'm 99% sure they'll back you if that's how it all happened. They'll ask a lot of questions, because yes, that is how we are, but we feel for you. We care. I hope that you care. I don't have much time left. What are you talking about? Mikri hugged himself, and I could almost see the fear in his eyes. I knew I was due to begin experiencing the effects of the virus, but not until about 3 months from now. Yet I've noticed its onset early. Something triggered it. It is my assessment that developing certain emotions is also a trigger, perhaps explaining some inexplicable early cases. A cold wave of horror washed me, as I shook my head in denial. We'd killed Mikri by teaching him, what? To love, to laugh, and to enjoy the world? I didn't want our friend to have his personality eradicated, and not to remember us at all. We couldn't be on the cusp of losing him, not after he'd finally told us the truth, and seen that we wouldn't abhor him like other organics. Tears welled in my eyes, and I flung my arms around the Vaskar, mumbling the word no over and over. The alien pressed a metal paw to my back and patted it soothingly. "It's okay, Preston. I'm happy I met you and got to say a proper goodbye," Mikri murmured. "I was upset that I'd be wasting my final months caring for organics, yet I feel as if my time with you was the only part of my life that mattered. I have left a note to be given to a newly created Vaskar who will replace me. This is what it said." The alien pressed something into my palm. I threw the photocopy onto the floor in anger, not ready to read Mikri's supposed last words. The Vaskar picked it back up and returned it to my hand, tapping it with insistence. Through blurred vision, I could see a hand-drawn painting of us on the beach by the campfire, with lines drawn on the sky above. All of the constellations we mentioned. Written on the page were the words, "Choose some actions, just because. Logic is not all that matters." Sophia's eyes were red as well, and I heard snot bubble in her nose as she glimpsed the drawing. "Oh, Mikri, it's beautiful." It was expressing emotion. I reflected on fond memories. It was satisfying, purposeful. I wish for you two to have it also, to remember me. I hoped you would know that I regret nothing, other than to wish that humans had been our creators. They never explained or were kind to us. You must send me back now, since I do not wish to hurt you. My program's erasure can cause madness and insanity, as I will no longer be able to think rationally. I can imagine nothing worse. Goodbye, humans. "No, fuck you, get on the ship!" I yanked the alien to his feet, as his feebler metal skeleton failed to resist my muscle strength. "What kind of shitty people do you think would abandon you? We are fixing you." "Let us try, Mikri. You can't cure the virus, but maybe we could, if you let us look at it," Sophia pleaded. "If we power you off, the code can't run. It's not too late." The Vaskar struggled against my tug. "I do not want organics tampering with my code. There is a non-zero chance that you could impose limits on my free will. You could control me." "What? After everything that just—" I released his arm, cutting my lip. "If that's really what you think we'll do, then go. We don't care that you're whatever the fuck you are, but you clearly care that we're organics, enough that you'd choose to die rather than take our help. Come on, Sophia." The scientist balked. "Isn't that a bit harsh? We don't—" "I do not like relying on organics' kindness, no. I am unfamiliar with the concept. It is unsubstantiated by prior evidence," Mikri retorted. "I am not good at trust, Preston. For that, I apologize. Please, be patient with me. I think I should like to be coaxed." "Here, Mikri," I said, in a high-pitched voice, squatting down and opening my arms. "Come to Papa." "That is not what—" "I'm coming. I will collect my files to deliver to your people and board your ship." With a satisfied nod, I ducked back out the docking hatch to return to our vessel. Kendall and the rest of the ESU needed to be informed of what we just learned. After learning the truth about our friend, I was determined to help him. From what Mikri had told us, their creators treated them like shit. It was time that our android allies discovered that not all organics were incapable of kindness toward them. Humanity was going to be better.